Good morning everyone. In this video, we will start with a new topic of the chapter Mineral Nutrition. The name of the topic is Role of Macronutrients and Micronutrients. The essential nutrients or elements, whether macronutrient or micronutrients, plays important roles in plants. They are essential constituents of proteins, carbohydrates, fats, and nucleic acids and take part in various metabolic processes. So in this video, we will discuss about those macronutrients and micronutrients, and we will see the form in which these nutrients are absorbed by the plant, the function of these nutrients, and what are their deficiency symptoms. Role of macro and micronutrients. Essential elements perform several functions. They participate in various metabolic processes in plant cells, such as they maintain permeability of cell membrane, they help in maintenance of osmotic concentration of cell sap, they help in electron transport system, they also take part in buffering actions, enzymatic activity, and act as a major constituent of macromolecules and coenzyme. Plants usually develop some characteristic symptoms due to the deficiency of essential elements. Such visually observable symptoms often help in determining the necessity of these macro and micronutrients. So let's discuss these macronutrients and micronutrients in details. The first macronutrient is nitrogen. It is a major constituent of amino acids, proteins, nucleic acids, hormones, vitamins, etc. It was the first macronutrient to be discovered and it is required in very large amount by plants. Nitrogen is not utilized by plants directly as such. It is mainly absorbed in the form of nitrates while others absorb it in the form of nitrites or as ammonium ions. It is usually required by all parts of plant, mainly the meristematic tissues as they have to divide repetitively, and by all the cells which are metabolically active in nature. The major function of nitrogen is in growth, metabolic activities, and it also serves as enzymes in photosynthesis. If we talk about the deficiency symptom of nitrogen, the chlorophyll content of the leaf is reduced, which results in pale yellow leaves. Older leaves turn completely yellow. Flowering, fruiting, protein and starch content are reduced. Reduction in protein results in stunted growth and dormant lateral buds. Next is phosphorus. Most soils are phosphorus deficient. It is present in plant as both organic and inorganic form. Organic form of phosphorus is not absorbed by plants as such. Instead, it is either taken from the soil or solution phase of the soil. It is the constituent of certain proteins, all the nucleic acids and cell membranes. The decomposition of organic form results into inorganic form of phosphorus. For example, ATP turns into inorganic phosphate and ADP, which is then utilized by the plants. It is generally absorbed by roots from the soil in the form of phosphate ions. The regions that requires phosphorus is meristematic tissue, young tissue, and it is also required in the regions of developing fruits and seeds. It generally gets withdrawn from the older tissues which becomes metabolically less active. Function. The main function in which phosphorus is involved is phosphorylation reactions and also has its importance in energy transfer reactions. Phosphorus is also present in high energy biomolecules such as adenosine triphosphate, guanosine triphosphate. It also has its major role in the ripening of grains and fruits. If we talk about the deficiency symptoms of phosphorus, plants generally turn dark green and appear stunted. Older leaves are affected first and may acquire a purplish discoloration. In some cases, leaf tips will become brown and die and appears weak and maturity is delayed. Potassium. It does not act as a constituent of any organic substance, so potassium is available to plant in its inorganic form such as potassium sulfate, potassium nitrate, etc. It is one of the major constituents of protoplasm. It is found in all tissues of plant that has the property of differentiating themselves, like meristematic tissue, bud, leaves, and root tips. Its amount is equal in whole plant except in seeds where it is found in lesser quantity. Now, if we talk about the functions, it helps in maintaining anion-cation balance in cells. It is also helping in maintaining osmotic potential of the cell. It is involved in the synthesis of proteins. It has its major role in opening and closing of stomata, and it also plays a major role in activation of enzymes and also helps in maintaining the turgidity of cells. The deficiency of potassium induces scrotched leaf tips, yellow and shriveled leaf margins, shortened internodes, dieback in shoots, chlorosis in interveinal area, plastid degeneration, loss of apical dominance, bushy appearance of plant, and loss of cambial activity and stunted growth. The next macro element is calcium, which is always found in green plants and is absorbed by them in the form of calcium ions from the soil. It is needed much in differentiating and meristematic tissues. It gets accumulated mostly in older leaves. The major functions of calcium include synthesis of pectin, that is calcium pectate, which is found in middle lamella of the cell wall during cell division. It is also involved in organization of mitotic spindle that are formed during cell division. It activates certain enzymes and plays an important role in regulation of cellular activities. Calcium deficiency symptoms appears initially as localized tissue necrosis leading to stunted plant growth, necrotic leaf margins on leaf or curling of the leaves, the eventual death of terminal buds and root tips. Generally, the new growth and rapidly growing tissues of the plants are affected first. Magnesium. It is a major component of ring structure of chlorophyll, without which the formation of chlorophyll does not take place. It is absorbed by the plants in the form of divalent magnesium ions from the soil. During rainy season, magnesium is leached out from the soil, due to which its amount becomes deficient in plants. It is required in growing areas of roots, stems, and seeds. It helps in activation of enzymes of photosynthesis and respiration. It also helps in the formation of chlorophyll, carotenoids, and nucleic acids, and helps in maintenance of the structure of ribosomes. Deficiency symptoms consist of interveinal chlorosis, that is, leaf vein stays green while the region between them turns yellow. Older leaves lose their green color except in veins. Interveinal chlorosis can lead to necrosis of the affected area, that is, death of the affected area. Sulfur. It is found usually in complex proteins of plant. The most abundant reservoir of sulfur in the soil is in the form of organic form such as lipids, amino acids, proteins, etc. It is absorbed by the plants in the form of sulfate ions from the mineral fraction of the soil. It is required mostly in young leaves and meristems. Function. It acts as a major constituent in amino acids like cysteine, methionine, and also of several coenzymes, vitamins like thiamine, biotin, coenzyme A, and ferredoxin. It is due to the presence of sulfur constituent in Liliaceae family plants like onion, garlic, etc. that they have a characteristic odor. Deficiency symptom of sulfur. Sulfur deficiency results in uniform pale green chlorosis throughout the plant. Veins do not retain a green color, and in many cases they may be even paler than the interveinal tissue. You can see here interveinal region is more green than that of venal region. Now, the next category is of micronutrients. Micronutrients are the nutrients which are required in very less quantity. Iron. It is required in huge amount by plants in comparison to other micronutrients. It occurs in the soil mainly in the form of hydroxides and oxides and is absorbed in the form of ferric ions. It is required by every part of the plant but is found abundantly along veins of the leaves. Excess amount of iron is stored as ferritin in plants. It is involved in the transfer of electrons like ferredoxin and cytochromes. It also plays an important role in reactions involving conversion of energy in both photosynthesis and respiration. It is reversibly oxidized from ferric to ferrous ions during electron transfer. It activates the enzyme catalase and is also essential for the synthesis of chlorophyll. The primary symptom of iron deficiency is interveinal chlorosis, the development of a yellow leaf with a network of dark green veins. In several cases, the entire leaf turns yellow or white, and the outer edges may scorch and turn brown as the plant cell dies. Manganese. The oxides of manganese are common in soil. However, its highly oxidized form is not available to plants. It is absorbed by plant in the form of manganese ions. It is required in leaves and seeds of plant. If we talk about its function, it is helpful in activating many enzymes that are involved in photosynthesis, respiration, and nitrogen metabolism. It is also having a major function in photolysis of water in order to liberate oxygen during the process of photosynthesis. Manganese deficiency symptoms look like iron deficiency symptoms. They appear as interveinal chlorosis on the young leaves and sometimes tan sunken spot that appears in the chlorotic area between the veins. Plant growth may also be reduced and stunted. Zinc. Zinc is absorbed in the form of zinc ions. Zinc occur in the ferromagnesium minerals. These minerals are weathered in order to liberate bivalent form of zinc ions. It is considered to be more soluble in soil than other heavy metals. It is required by every part of the plant. If we talk about the functions of zinc, it helps in activation of various enzymes like carboxylase, oxidase, dehydrogenase, kinases, etc. And also in the formation of chlorophyll pigment. It is also needed in synthesis of auxins, that is a plant growth regulator. The deficiency of zinc results in chlorosis, that is yellowing of leaves, and it is often interveinal. Then is necrotic spots, that is death of leaf tissues on areas of chlorosis. It also leads to bronzing of leaves, that is chlorotic area may turn bronze colored. Copper. It is found in very low amount in soil. It is absorbed as cupric ions. It acts as a component or activator of plastocyanin, cytochrome, oxidase and many other enzymes. It is also required by every part of the plant like zinc. Like iron, it is also involved with enzymes that are required in redox reactions. It can also oxidize in the reversible direction, that is from copper to cupric ions. Deficiency symptoms of copper. It results in necrosis at the tips of leaf and then extend to the margins. In fruit trees causes dieback of shoot where leaves wither, fall and bark become rough. It causes exanthema in citrus plants. Boron. It is one of the most essential element for the growth of nearly all plants, that is tomato, lemon, mustard, cotton, etc. It is absorbed by the plants in the form of borate ions from the soil. It is required mostly by leaves and seeds. Boron is required for the uptake of calcium ions and water. It is essential for cell elongation, cell differentiation at meristems. It is also essential for growth of pollen tube and is involved in translocation of carbohydrates. Deficiency symptom of boron includes death of root and shoot tips, loss of apical dominance, abscission of flowers, small size of fruits, absence of root nodules in leguminous plants, and stunted growth. Chlorine. It is abundant in nature and is absorbed by the plants in the form of chloride ions. It is also required everywhere like zinc and copper. It helps in transfer of electrons from water to photosystem 2 in photosynthesis, that is during water splitting reaction in order to evolve oxygen. It is also helpful in determining the concentration of solute with sodium and potassium. It seems to be essential in balancing cationic and anionic ratio in cells. The deficiency of chlorine results in wilted leaves and stunted root growth, along with reduced fruiting. Nickel. It is also added as micronutrient recently. It is found to be very mobile in plants and is absorbed by the plants in the form of nickel ions. It is required in whole plant. It acts as an essential part of enzymes urease, which hydrolyzes urea to carbon dioxide and ammonium ions. Deficiency of nickel produces non-viable seed up to third generation due to its absence and may lead to necrotic spots on the leaf tips. Deficiency symptoms of essential elements. Deficiency symptoms vary from element to element as we people have already discussed, and they tend to disappear when particular deficient mineral nutrient is provided to the plant. Whenever the supply of an essential element becomes limited, growth of the plant gets retarded. However, if the deprivation of the same nutrient continues for a long period of time, it may eventually lead to the death of plant. Critical concentration is limited concentration of the essential element below which the growth of plant gets reduced, retarded or stops. Each essential element plays a vital role in structural and functional composition of plant. Thus, in the absence of any particular element, plant shows various morphological changes which are indicative of certain element deficiency and are called deficiency symptoms. The plant parts shows symptoms of deficiencies depending on the mobility of element in the plant. Accordingly, these can also be divided as mobile elements and immobile elements. When the elements are actively mobile within the plant, the symptom tends to appear first in the older leaves and tissues. It is because the elements gets mobilized from senescing region to young tissues. For example, deficiency symptoms of nitrogen, potassium and magnesium are visible in the senescent leaves first because these elements are actively mobile. In older leaves, biomolecules containing these elements are broken down, making these elements available for mobilizing to other regions of the plant. Immobile elements. When the elements are immobile within the plants, the symptoms appear first in young leaves and tissues because the elements are non-transported out of the matured organs. For example, the elements like sulfur and calcium are not released out easily from the plant as they act as an important part of the structural component of the cell. This aspect of mineral nutrition in plants plays a very vital role in agriculture and horticulture. Some major deficiencies in plant. Various kinds of deficiency symptoms shown by the plants are given below. It includes necrosis, chlorosis, inhibition of cell division, delayed flowering, stunted plant growth, and premature fall of leaves and buds. Necrosis. It is a phenomenon which leads to the death of tissue, cell, or organs, mainly leaf tissue, while it is still a part of the living plant. It is caused due to the deficiency of elements like calcium, magnesium, copper, and potassium. Chlorosis. It is the loss of the chlorophyll which leads to the yellowing of leaves. This symptom is caused by the deficiency of elements like nitrogen, potassium, magnesium, sulfur, iron, manganese, zinc, and molybdenum in plants. Inhibition of cell division. It occurs due to the lack or low level of elements like nitrogen, sulfur, molybdenum, and potassium. Delay flowering. Deficiency of elements like nitrogen, sulfur, molybdenum leads to delay in flowering of plants. Then is stunted plant growth, that is reduced plant growth. If the low availability of element occurs, it may lead to inhibition of growth in plants and the plant may eventually grow slow. Then is premature fall of leaves and buds. It is another type of deficiency symptom that occurs due to the lack of different mineral ions like phosphorus, magnesium, copper, etc. A moderate decrease of micronutrient causes deficiency symptoms, while a moderate increase leads to toxicity. Thus, whenever the concentration of mineral iron in tissues reduces the dry weight by about 10%, it is considered to be toxic. The level of toxicity varies from different micronutrients plant to plant. When the toxicity of element increases to certain level, It may also inhibit the uptake of another element. For example, the prominent symptom of manganese toxicity is in the appearance of brown spots surrounded by chlorotic veins. It is important to know that manganese competes with iron and magnesium for uptake and with magnesium for binding with enzymes. Manganese also plays a role to inhibit the calcium translocation in shoot apex. Therefore, presence of manganese in excess amount may induce deficiencies of iron, magnesium and calcium. Thank you everyone.